So here's what happened. I knew that I needed to record a video today because I hadn't in quite some time. So you can order Starbucks on Uber Eats, and this week they've had a promotion for free delivery. This is the third time I've ordered from them, and this is the first time they've gotten the order right. So not great. But here I am ordering it again because I'm a lazy bitch. I'm like running around trying to be ready to film a video in like 20 minutes between when I ordered the coffee and when it showed up. And here I am. I'm not really sure that I needed to drink more coffee before filming because I'm already feeling pretty high strung. I'm gonna hate myself when I go to edit this. So love that. Love that for me. Every single year I have one pumpkin spice latte, and every single year before I order it, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be really good. I love pumpkin pie and I love coffee, but every year I'm disappointed by it, and I don't know why every year I order it again as if somehow it's gonna be different this time. Also, I'm sorry that I'm drinking from plastic, but while there's free delivery, one of the reasons that I haven't filmed a video in a while, I had a visa hearing. And while that was going on, it was just a bit like stressful, as you might imagine. I think I've definitely had too much caffeine and my brain is just like, it's not gonna stop me from drinking it though. This isn't like a 3 things you need to know about immigration. It's a coffee and chat. It's conversational, but I think there are a lot of questions that I get asked. So I want to kind of fill you in, let you know. Just let you know. God. So just a quick recap of my situation. While I was here studying, I met Joe. We got married in 2016, and then I applied for the visa. It took about 2 months for the application to get decided on. In June, I got my visa, booked my flight out here, and went straight to Glastonbury. It was also the weekend of the Brexit vote. So basically, I landed in England, got on Wi-Fi, saw that Brexit had happened. Brexit had been voted on. It still hasn't happened. Went and packed a bag, went to Glastonbury, cried a lot, but you know, blessed that I got to go. The visa that I moved here on, that lasted until March 2019. And then I reapplied. That is one of the biggest things that people, especially here, constantly say. Everyone thinks like if you get married, you just apply for a visa and then that's it. But for the UK, if everything goes to plan, you get your first visa the last 2.5 years, then you apply again, that lasts 2.5 years. Then after 5 years, you can apply for, it's a visa called indefinite leave to remain, which basically just means you can stay in the country indefinitely. You don't have to keep, that's at the point that you don't, and it's at that point that you don't have to keep reapplying. You can just stay on that visa. If you want, you can also apply for citizenship, and then at that point you would get a British passport and be a proper citizen. It's not a simple like you get married, you get a visa, and then you're set. Like it is a continuous process with documentation that you have to provide. All of that was fine, but where we did not meet the requirements was actually the financial requirements. And that one is very complicated because basically the reason that we didn't meet it was because last year neither of us were working a job or earning money. We were traveling with savings, and Joe had gotten a job that was above the salary requirement before I applied for the visa, but he hadn't been there for 6 months yet. Literally, if he'd been at that job for 6 months, none of this would have happened. So basically, my visa application was refused, and that was obviously not ideal. We thought we had a decent case for an appeal, so we appealed it. The hearing was last month in September. I just kind of had to go and be like, we do meet the financial requirement now, and because of my mental health, it would be really hard for me to have to like go back to America, be separated from Joe, and then come back. We were right. It was a good case for an appeal. The judge sided with us. She decided pretty quickly, and that is sort of where I'm at now. I keep having people ask, like, what's happening next? And unfortunately, I don't actually know. The Home Office should issue me a visa, but it's not that clear cut. I don't know when I'll get my actual like residence permit. That's kind of just like a recap of the situation. It's so detailed and so complex that it's honestly quite hard to explain it. If you do have any more questions about anything specific, definitely feel free to ask. Like, I'm happy to talk about it. The situation has obviously been frustrating and difficult, but I've also really tried to keep a very positive attitude because ultimately, my worst case scenario is still a fortunate one. Through all of my research and the things that I went to, seeing what a lot of other people who are appealing visa decisions are going through or what their circumstances are, they can be really terrifying and horrible for people. Like, it can be they don't have anywhere to go if they're sent back to their country, or it's a country where things are very unsettled. I try to be very aware that actually, like, even if this goes badly for me, I'm still going to be okay, and I'm still very fortunate and privileged. It's always that balance of like, I think everyone's allowed to feel upset at their circumstances or feel stressed. Just because somebody has it worse doesn't mean that I can't feel upset about what's going on. But at the same time, I think by remembering, like, keep some perspective here, it helps me just look at the whole thing better. I just feel grateful for the different support systems and circumstances that I do have because I know I'm very fortunate. So, another thing that dealing with all of this has kind of given me a different perspective on is kind of how difficult it is to understand immigration law. We thought we met the financial requirement and then didn't because the way some of it was worded, it was just very confusing. And there's a lot of stuff like that that just, it's so hard to understand. I have a good understanding of English, obviously, it's my only language. I have, a laptop that I can sit and read all this information on. Like, I have all of these resources that make it easier for me to try to figure this stuff out. For people who are like trying to move somewhere better but like don't have all those resources or don't have a good understanding of English, or I mean, even understanding English, like, these documents can be fucking hard to read. It's given me a lot more sympathy or empathy for like people who are in much more trying situations. Immigration law is so confusing. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that. Until you've moved to a new country, there's so many things about it that you would never think of, that you would never even know could be an issue. Even the way that people will respond to me about things to do with my visa, that just shows a lot of ignorance about how the whole thing works. I see a lot of people just kind of giving opinions on different issues with immigration who don't really understand like anything about moving to a new country or what that entails or how complicated and difficult and whatever it can be. Like, it's a really hard thing. And that's like me, a white person, moving from one English speaking country to another, which means that like that's already eliminated a lot of the struggles that people would have. I get comments here sometimes about being American, or like people like, oh, where are you from? But it's always, for the most part, like very friendly. It's like, oh, where are you from? Like, are you from America? Whereas someone from another country might not get that same niceness attached to it. It can be very accusatory, like, where are you from? Why are you here? That is something that, like, side note, well, it's not really a side note, is it? There's a way that you can ask someone like where they're from, or why they've moved, or what. Like, there are ways to do it where it's polite and like conversational and okay, but just kind of like asking someone that you don't have a developed relationship with, like where they're from or like why they moved or whatever, it can be really frustrating sometimes. And like I said, this is me, like, I get frustrated sometimes when it's like quite friendly, but other people are dealing with it in a lot more hostile kind of way. I've had times where I was like calling to cancel a phone contract and the guy started asking me like, oh, where are you from? Like, how long have you been here? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, mate, I'm just trying to cancel my phone contract. Like, I don't really have time for a conversation right now. He's trying to be nice, but people who get into those conversations with someone and are asking them, you don't think about the fact that so many interactions that I have with people will lead to them asking, oh, are you American? It's a constant thing. And that's fine, like I don't mind too much, but it can get tiring. I go to the store or I call about something or I'm in a shop or I'm talking to an Uber driver. When you're having interaction after interaction and like 80% of them end up saying like, oh, you're American, or oh, where are you from? It's like a constant reminder of like, you're not from here. As frustrating as that can get for me, as like I said, someone who's dealing with it in a mostly nice, like people don't mean any harm by it, but I think it's just, I guess I want people to be aware that like what you may mean as a conversational like, oh, where are you from, what are you doing here, it may seem nice and good intention to you, but keep in mind that like for someone else, they might be getting asked that question every single day. It's tiring. People just kind of feel entitled to know those things about you. And sometimes it's like, well, it's not your business where I'm from. Like I live here. It doesn't matter like where I came from. It's hard to put into words, but I think it's something that I would never have known any of that until moving here. Like I would have been that person who, you know, if I heard a British accent in Oklahoma, I might have been like, oh my God, you're from England. You don't realize until you're in that situation. So, and the thing is, even for me, sometimes it can be like borderline aggressive. I was in another city and was talking to someone and just had someone turn around out of the blue and like, what are you doing here? Just a bit like, I live here. When I was volunteering at a bookshop, a lady came in asking about directions for something. I was kind of like, oh, I think it's like that way, but I don't know. I usually come from the other direction. She was like, oh, you sound like you come from a lot further than that. And I was just like, okay. I don't want to sound like victim-y about it. People experience so much worse, but I think that's kind of my point. How much more do people from non-American countries, that didn't make sense. You know that they get it so much worse. And I don't know, it bums me out. It makes me sad. Like I wish we could all just let people live their lives wherever they choose to live them and not be like, why are you here? I think serious topics can be a little bit more difficult to talk about over video because it's like you want to make sure you say it the right way or that someone can't misinterpret your words, or I don't know. Also just like my brain is just not working. I don't really know where I'm ending this, but it's just some things that I kind of wanted to update people on, talk about. Is it the most concise? No, but it starts a conversation. And I think with this whole like coffee with Kayla thing, I just want to have a series of like conversational things. And the point isn't, here's my video telling you everything you need to know about it, but like, here's the start of a conversation. Let's keep talking about it. Whether in the YouTube comments or if you send me a message somewhere else or, you know, we talk in person, whatever that may be. It's more that like I want to start conversations about things. I hope this has been informative in some way or another. Please ask me anything you want, and thank you for watching. If you did like it, please hit the like button below. Please subscribe to my channel because subscribers are good and helpful. Also, like, I finished my coffee such a long time ago because I've been rambling on for I've been rambling for a while. It won't be as bad when you're watching it because I'll cut a lot of it out, but I'm gonna go now. So, have a good one.